What's going on, guys? Welcome back to Cheeky Crypto Uncensored. I am JB and today's video is very interesting for many people. This has been very much a requested video. Now originally this was a members video. This was put together back in January for our members, talking about the Singularity ecosystem, the projects as a whole, where they could be going, and the potentials for these projects in the future. What kind of expectation do I have for these projects? Now, everything in today's video is 100% my views, my thoughts, my expectations of these projects. A fantastic ecosystem. We've had some fantastic access to these projects so far. So what we'll do is we will run a video and maybe summarize it towards the end. Guys, I hope you enjoyed today's video. Now, this is going to perhaps be a long one, it's going to be quite an in-depth one, but we're going to talk about the Singularity family. Now, one of the most common questions we do get at Cheeky Crypto is, where's this project going? Where's that project going? Where could we potentially see these in the bull run? Now, this video is going to be a very speculative video, perhaps a prediction of where I'm anticipating the prices of these projects to go. Now, of course, some of these have very little price history, some of them have some more price history, but all of them will be most certainly unpredictable for the bull run. I think it's going to be very hard to predict many of these targets. AI in itself is going to have a fantastic grasp on this next bullish market, so we're going to have a predictive look to the future. Where am I expecting these kind of prices to go? Some may be quite conservative, some may be very bullish. We'll get into it. But first of all, let's jump over to singularitynet.io and we'll take a look at the ecosystem first of all here. So we'll have a quick look through all of the projects on the Singularity ecosystem. Singularity Net, Hypercycle, Twin Protocol, Awakening Health, Singularity DAO, NuNet, Cogito, Deep Funding, True AGI, Jam Galaxy, OpenCog Hyperon, Sophiaverse, Singularity Studio, Mindplex, Rejuve Bio, and Zarka. Now, I'm not going to cover off all of them in today's video. I'm going to cover off the most requested at the channel here. So it's going to be Singularity Net, Hypercycle, Twin, Singularity DAO, NuNet, Cogito, Rejuve AI, and Sophiaverse. Now, I'm not going to list off my favourite ones. Many people will already know them. I'm just going to give an opinion on where I'd expect to see these prices go. I think it's easy to say we could perhaps predict $5 as the kind of benchmark for most of these projects to go, but not all of them. A $5 level for AGIX, for SDAO, perhaps Sophiaverse and Hypercycle. Probably going to be the target for many. But let's get into it, and I think first of all we will start off with perhaps the easiest to predict, Singularity Net. So first of all, as promised, Singularity Net. We're going to have a look first of all here at the daily chart. Now, I do still expect a bit of a pullback. The most recent members video talking about this pullback for Singularity Net. Now, yes, potentially a push to the upside, but ultimately I am looking for a bit of consolidation for Singularity Net between 23.998 and 17.353. So we may see this market pump before we do see a big pullback. Regardless of where it's going, a possible consolidation between 19 and 17 cents I do think is a possibility for AGIX. And when we come over onto the weekly chart, well, we can see that area right down here between 19 and 17 cents. Now, I think for the purpose of today's video, I'm going to use the low we already have here at 15.689 cents. Where could we potentially look for the price action of AGIX to go? Now, the conservative target would of course be $2.25 to $4.56, and that is a very conservative target. AGIX does have the possibility to breach $10, I'm not ruling that one out. But from today's market price, well, it would be a conservative 800 to around about 1700% in gains. If we came down into that target area, you're looking around about 2,500% gain. And if we did use that low we have down here, you're still just under 3,000% gains. But should the price come down and retest this previous area of support and resistance, well, we're then touching up towards 4,000%. So is $2.50 to $4.50 really the ultimate target for AGIX? It's a conservative one. I do think AGIX could do much more. I do certainly think AGIX has potential to 100x. Whether or not it will, that is yet to be seen. If we were really to see this one turn very bullish, which it most certainly does have the potential to do, obviously we would have to look for a 5-wave move to the upside. And that third wave move would have to take the price action up towards $14. Now, it's a very optimistic approach. Could we realistically see AGIX push up to $14.30? And the simple answer is possibly. Nothing's guaranteed, of course, in this space. And if we were to look at the current price for AGIX, well, that would see a 5,500% move to the upside. And in my opinion, there is a real possibility that AGIX could do that. The AI narrative is going to be so strong going forward. AGIX, I do think, will be one of the leaders in the space for AI. So a prediction for AGIX. $5 is most likely going to be the ultimate target. But should we see that next move to the upside being a potential 5-wave move, then we really could be targeting over $10, perhaps $14 for AGIX's price action. Now, we've probably covered off the easiest one to chart. So let's move over to SDAO, and we'll start off once again on the daily chart. We of course have seen a bit of a pullback for SDAO's price action. After we've seen that spike to the upside of $1.47, well, we have seen the price come down to around about the $3.50 level, finding a potential bottom from there. Do we think the price will slip down from there? There is a potential to come down a little bit further, perhaps even retesting the lows we did see of 25 cents. But let's take the current low we have of 30.5 and perhaps have a bullish look at that bull market target. Now for that, we will come over to the weekly chart, and we can already see the potential target we have marked up here, $3.03 up towards $5.22. Now once again, from the current market price, that would be around about a 600 to a 1200% move to the upside. Once again, very reserved. Should we see slippage back down into that previous area, that we kind of targeted SDAO to come on down to, where you're looking around about a 2000% move to the upside. Once again, a very reserved target. But then again, we can also look at the potential for the Dynasets to take off, for the AI narrative really to take over, and the possibility of that 5-wave move again for the price action of SDAO. And for that to happen, we would have to see the price push on up towards $9.11. Again, a 3,900% push to the upside. Now, that may be a very conservative target. I think Singularity DAO has the potential to go on and do so much more, be so much more valuable. It is very reserved targets, but for now, I am currently looking at $3 to around about $5.20. Should we see that $9 level? Well, I think we could see something very special happen for the price action of Singularity DAO. Now is where things get a little bit more challenging. Hypercycle. Let's drop over onto the daily time frame. So we know we are pulling back for Hypercycle. This move to the upside, A, B and C, falling just short of that C-wave target area. The C-wave low target was around about $1.25, where we did see the price come up to $1.18, and of course we have seen a pullback from there. So the typical retracement of this A, B and C to the upside is of course between 50.9 and 26.8 cents. Now we can see a couple of interesting areas inside of there. We do have this previous area of support term resistance between 39.2 and 37.8, and this fair value gap between 38.3 and 34.6. We could see the prices come back to there, but we can of course see that it does look like it's perhaps getting ready for a bit of a push to the upside. But we're going to talk about the optimistic future approach for this one. And a couple of target areas I do have marked out here. We can see the upper area here, $2.10 to $3.12. Now in my opinion, that would look more as an A. Come down into the B wave where we do test out this previous area of support resistance, perhaps testing that fair value gap. We would of course look for that C wave move to the upside, giving us the idea of $2.10 and $3.12. Now should we have already seen the bottom here, that we're not going any lower than the wick we have coming down here at 51.3 cents on the 9th of January, well, we would be looking at that higher target area between $2.75 and $4.09. Once again giving us the conception we could be looking up towards $5 for Hypercycle. Now from its current price, that lower level is only 240% to 407%, with the upper level 350 towards 560% gains. So these are very reserved targets. I personally do think Hypercycle can go on, much like the others we've already covered, target up towards that $10 level. I do think it is a possibility where we would see a bit more of an optimistic target there, 1500% gains. But should we see the prices come on down, well then you're looking up towards the 3000% gains. Now I really want to stress how conservative we are being with these targets. I do think many of these projects have got the potential to 100x, but I don't want to lead us down the path to expect 100x from every project. I'm giving conservative targets here. It may not be to everyone's liking, but it's where I am looking at for these projects to go, and Hypercycle will definitely be up there in my opinion. Now next up we are going to talk about Nunet. Nunet had a fantastic previous bull market, where we can see that Nunet managed to, really do around about 3000% gains. Highly possible in that next bullish market, but of course we can still consider further consolidation perhaps for Nunet. Now it has entered the current buy zone that Nick has produced for the website, between 2.4 and 4.4 cents. The lower kind of target area, or the lower buy zone, between 2.4 and 1.7, not off the table just yet, but I don't think we will see the prices come on down to there. Realistically, if we do see 2.4 cents, I think we'd be incredibly lucky for Nunet going forward. And if we take it over onto the weekly chart, well, we could see that potential A, B and C playing out, where we can see the 1-to-1 would be at 1.7 with the 1.236 at 1.1 cent, bring us back down into a previous, area we found a lot of resistance for Nunet's price action. Not a guarantee to come down there, of course. But what we can see going on, I've already drew these ones up, if we were actually to look at Nunet doing a big A, B and C to the upside, well we could be targeting this upper area of 55 to $1.25 for its price. Now from the current price of Nunet is around about 1200% with the upper level of 3000%, and we can be optimistic, we can potentially be bullish here for Nunet. If we were to see this really go impulsive, hit the 1.618 level, well we would be looking at a wave 1, wave 2, wave 3, seeing the price come up to $4.72. Is that realistically an expectation of mine? It is not. Considering the current price is sitting at 4 cents, for it to push up to $4.72 I think would take an incredible amount of buying pressure. It is most certainly a possibility, but just want to be really reserved with that one. The potential of 55 cents, maybe even $1.25 would be sensational in my opinion, and yeah, it is highly possible for Nunet to do that, but I will be keeping in the back of the mind that $4 level would be unbelievable to see Nunet push up to that kind of level. It would be fantastic. Now this one is very tricky. We're going to look at Cogito next. Now we know that Cogito does not have a great deal of price history, price discovery so far, just 237 days worth, and those 237 days have been pretty flat. Now obviously we did see this large wick to the downside on gate.io. How can we really chart this one up as yet? I just do not feel like we have sufficient amount of history. But if we were to take into account the moves of the other projects in the ecosystem, then could we be looking at a bit of a bullish future for Cogito? Is 50 cent probably a realistic target? I do think it's a conservative one. It will be around about 1,600% from today's price, but I do expect to see a bit of slippage in the price action of Cogito. Perhaps coming down towards that 1.5 level is a possibility. Unfortunately, the history here does not give us a good, kind of price action that's going on here, especially with this large wick we did see going on. So just now, my conservative approach would be probably up towards around about the 50 cent level, see how price reacts there, but I do think when that proper bullish market does start, we will be able to target this one out more accurately. Next up guys, we're going to talk Sophiaverse. I like Sophiaverse. So the chart itself is of course incredibly bearish ever since the launch. We have of course seen the price come down to 5.8 cents roughly. It's not been a great period of time. Overall, we can see the moves are playing out. There is a 5-wave move inside of this C wave, so we have seen a ABC correction to the downside, an ABC correction to the upside, and another ABC correction to the downside. Bring us down to the 1-to-1 of 6.3, not quite hitting the 1.236 at 5.4 cents. So we could look for Sophia to bounce from here, but there is still a potential bearish structure to play out, bring us down towards 4.2 and 3 cents. This of course would be a bigger A, B and C structure to the downside. So there is still potential for Sophia to bleed out a little bit more. Unfortunate, but potentially fortunate if we're looking at this, longer term. So once again, we do have a lack of price discovery for Sophiaverse. 184 days, it's really not enough to have any structure to go off of. But if we're going to be bullish on the project, where do we really think it could be going? Well, I think Sophia could do fantastically well. I don't want to say $2.50 because it's very optimistic, but $2.50 would be a fantastic level for Sophia to really push on up to hit. That would take us up towards 4,000% in gains, and I do think that is a possibility, but it's not the target I'm going to set for today's video. Around about $1 I think would be a fantastic achievement. 1,612% in gains is very conservative. I do know. I do like the idea of that $2.50 level. I do like the idea of a $5 level. $5 for Sophiaverse would be unbelievable for returns, 8,483%, and it is a very much a possibility for this project. The marketing has been fantastic. We've obviously seen the affiliation with the likes of Elon Musk and such. We won't speculate on things all too much. But a conservative target of $1, perhaps $2.50, $5 would be fantastic for Sophia to push up to. Of course, it is just far too early to really speculate on that one. But again, as that bullish market takes off, as everything really starts to discover, we'll be able to target this one out a little bit more accurately. And last but very not least, guys, we're going to talk Rejuve. Now, Rejuve, I feel, is ultimately the hardest of the collective here to really structure out, to try and chart. The volatility of this one is incredible. We can obviously see the likes of the candle wick here on the 21st of December. Really knocks out any form of Elliott wave theory in my opinion. We need a lot more price discovery to really be targeting this one out. Underwhelming as such, some people have called it very underwhelming from its launch, but yes, we can see that, but it launched in a bearish market. I'm not concerned by that. But a bullish target going forward, where could we really be looking for Rejuve to head on up to? Now, I don't think 50 cent for Rejuve is out of the question. It would be a fantastic move, 2,500%. Again, it could be called conservative, yes, possibly. 25 cent as well, I do think is a very interesting push for Rejuve to really push on up to. So again, this one I think is the hardest out of the whole collection of the Singularity projects to really target out. A conservative approach around about 50 cent, 2,500% move to the upside would be fantastic. Now, I do think all of these projects could do ever so much more than the numbers we have called out today. It's a very reserved, a very conservative approach to these potential markets, but that's my opinion where I think these projects could go. I would love to know where you guys are targeting these projects to go, where your potential exit positions are for these projects, or if you're just looking to hold these till 2030. So there we have it, guys. Let me know what you thought of that kind of roundup, a fantastic ecosystem of projects. Now, we, of course, down in our Discord had the fantastic opportunity of getting into many of these projects at seed round. So, for example, we can go over here to the Cheeky Crypto Discord, and when we come down to the section here for sales info, we can rewind this back to last year, and we can talk about Hypercycle most notably. We can see that, you know, the private seed round here was at 0.55 cent. Now, getting into this project at basically 5.5 cents here has been a remarkable return on investment so far. When we bring it back over to that weekly chart, well, we can see around about 2,000% gains that we have really seen so far for this project in around about 266 days. So seeing these kind of, you know, results so far from very early projects really iterates the bullish narrative that we have going forward for these projects. In particular, the importance of getting into these projects at private round, at seed rounds and such, you know, really stands you in a fantastic position going forward. Of course, making this video, I'm hyper bullish on the Singularity family as a whole. Hypercycle itself leading the way so far. I think Sophiaverse itself is going to do fantastically well. Each one of these projects has the potential to really change our, you know, positions that we are in. We're all talking here about making generational level wealth, and these are my personal picks, you know, to really change my life, my generational wealth position. Let me know where you guys are positioned on these ones. It'd be fantastic to know in the comments down below. And of course, if you want to have access to these kind of videos, this is most likely going to be a one-off. These are the kind of videos we do make for our members down in Discord. The link is of course in the description down below, and of course by signing up to memberships.cheekycrypto.io gives you the access to these videos. So once again, guys, I do hope you have enjoyed the video for today. It's something a little bit different to bring out here. I know Chris is very much under the weather, hence why I'm filling in for him on this slot on a Sunday evening. Guys, I hope you all had a fantastic weekend. Why not continue checking out the content from the channel, where today, earlier, I spoke about VeChain and its potential.